I think anytime the kid makes something and then sells it, that's a massive confidence boost because a stranger believed in something they made enough to pay money for it. So anytime they can make something and sell it, it's just amazing. And it doesn't even matter what they're making. I've had kids selling bracelets made out of pony beads. We've had kids with 3D printers. We've had kids, so many kids that sell cookies. My daughters did a lemonade business together. I told you earlier, my 7-year-old does face painting. Anything that they can make that encourages, especially an adult, to tell them that they appreciate it enough to give them money.
Welcome to Create Your Own Economy with Bunmi Ajibade, the podcast that empowers corporate professionals ready to break free and transition into entrepreneurship with confidence and clarity, as well as business owners looking to grow and scale their businesses. If you're exhausted from building other people's dreams, leaving you little time or energy to focus on what truly matters to you, you are in the right place. Each week, we provide actionable strategies, expert interviews, and real-life success stories to help you turn your ideas into thriving business. Ready to take bold, clear steps toward life and business you deserve? Let's get started. What if the fastest way for you to build real confidence and leadership in your kids is not lectures, but letting them handle real life situations, letting them handle money through real business experience? And what kind of responsibility actually builds confidence in kids? Again, real world skills. And how do we build that in our young people, the young entrepreneurs? Welcome back to Create Your Own Economy. I'm Bunmi Ajibade, and this is part 2 of what we started. So if you have not watched the first one, I will encourage you to please do and to subscribe also. So the title of the 2 episodes is How to Raise a Confident Young Entrepreneur Without Pressure. And the last one, we really looked at how we can shift from not helping them to really coaching them, from controlling them, because we still think we're helping them by controlling them, but not controlling them to coaching them and letting them build, letting them fail safely, and most importantly, allowing them to lead the conversation, to lead the business. And today, in part 2, we're going to talk about how kids can run real businesses using real world skills, and also how to build financial literacy amongst our kids. And again, we'll come back to leadership, because whatever it is all about leadership. How they are not only for the future, as Leah said in the last conversation we had, that we build our kids who are not only for tomorrow. I'm looking at my notes. Can you remind me, Leah, how we build our kids? They are not the words that we should stop saying, that children are the future, but instead to say that we are raising capable children who have leadership capabilities to lead right now. So when they have that capacity, then when it gets to future, then they can be useful to the society and useful to themselves. So Leah, welcome again. For those of you who have not watched part 1, Leah is the founder of the Society for Child Entrepreneurs, a non-profit that is dedicated to helping kids ages 6 to 17 build confidence, build leadership capacity, and real world business skills through hands-on learning. She's a mother of 4 and was inspired by watching her own children turn everyday ideas into action. Leah, your message is so powerful. The way you coach your kids, I just want to be a kid again so that you can coach me through. So thank you so much and welcome. Welcome to the second part of this conversation with our kids wanting to become entrepreneurs, or they don't even know what that means, but they have an idea that can solve a problem for people. And in my coaching practice, support 9-to-5 professionals who want to transition into entrepreneurship. And we follow a system. We have a system that they can go through from ideation to testing the market to selling the product, for reflection where they collect feedback and how to improve with the feedback, and eventually how to scale the business. So what system do you suggest for these young entrepreneurs from their ideation stage, and also for the parents who are watching, also listening?
So I actually wrote the curriculum. So we wrote a program and it's called Ignite, Empower, Lead. And it's about taking that little spark, your little idea, and igniting that, empowering them to actually go out and do something with it. And then the children becoming leaders in their community as entrepreneurs who are running businesses and being successful. And so I will go ahead and say, the best system for teaching child entrepreneurship is to use our curriculum, because we have written it based on the kids we're working with. Even so far as this week, our pilot program, they're doing market research. And so I'm going to be teaching 7 and 10-year-olds how to do market research on their ideas to determine if it is a feasible idea or if they should try something else to sell. And it's so much fun because the kids, they start out like, I can't be an entrepreneur, I'm a kid. And then they turn into, oh, wait, I have an idea for this. I'm going to solve this problem. This is the thing I'm going to do because I think it would be fun to have. And building these businesses that they didn't believe were possible just a few short weeks ago. And then watching them build these over the course of the semester is just so much fun to see all of the energy that comes into them and how much more they talk. So when you first start with a group of kids and they all think that they're the children, they're the students, I'm the teacher, I do the talking, they sit and take notes. I don't ask them questions. You know what the classroom is supposed to look like. But we don't do that in a Sochi classroom. When we have classrooms, we do a lot of open discussion. We do a lot of brainstorming. We do a lot of giving feedback. So it's amazing to see, even in the newest group, they're only on their 4th week, and how much more vocal they are as opposed to the first week. Because the first week, they were really just sitting there expecting me to lecture them. And the second week, they were kind of like, okay, we can talk a little. And then the 3rd week, they were cracking jokes, like watching them build their ideas and their confidence. Because I'm a stranger. And worse than being a stranger, I'm an expert in the field and a teacher. And they have to be confident enough to speak to me. And I'm empowering them to speak to me as equals. I don't want them to speak to me like I'm above them. I want them to speak to me because we are all leaders and we are all entrepreneurs. So actually, I'm mildly scandalous. My students all call me by my first name.
Okay.
I know, right? Throws them away. Yeah. I was like, just call me by my name.
Miss Leah won't hurt.
Right. We even, have you heard in advocacy and coaching, there's a phrase, nothing about us without us? Mm-hmm. So we practice that at the Society of Child Entrepreneurs. But if we say nothing about the children without the children, we actually have to include children in our leadership. So we formed a junior board of directors. And we actually have a junior board president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and junior executive director. And those 5 kids have monthly board meetings. They give us feedback. We were working on our strategic plan earlier in January, and I literally had 5 children between the ages of 10 and 14 sit down and discuss what their strategic plan was for the organization that they're members of and what the non-negotiables are so far as programming, in their opinion, as the recipients of the programming.
It's amazing. I mean, these are the things that we are trying to teach adults. people who have spent maybe 5, 10, 20, 25 years in the workforce. And it's like, how do I take my skills and, bridge it or transition it into a business? But imagine these kids learning all this from age 10, 6, 10 to 17. This is amazing. So what are the best startup ventures that you have seen that can build confidence quickly in these young people?
I think anytime the kid makes something and then sells it, that's a massive confidence boost because a stranger believed in something they made enough to pay money for it. So anytime they can make something and sell it, it's just amazing. And it doesn't even matter what they're making. I've had kids selling bracelets made out of pony beads. We've had kids with 3D printers. We've had so many kids that sell cookies. My daughters did a lemonade business together. I told you earlier, my 7-year-old does face painting. Anything that they can make that encourages, especially an adult, to tell them that they appreciate it enough to give them money, and that happening over and over again. Because yes, a child doesn't understand the value of a dollar the same way an adult does, but a child does understand that money is valuable.
Yes.
And if you are willing to give your valuable money for my thing, that means my thing is valuable. And at that point in their development, making a valuable thing means I am valuable. And as we get older, we learn about how productivity and making doesn't have to be how we determine our worth. But as a kid, it's a great shortcut to building confidence. And then they can start applying that confidence to other skills. But it's a nice jumping in point.
Yes, I made this. I came up with this. I made it. And then you see it as a good product, and then you gave me $1 for that. Oh my goodness. Confidence booster for the kids. So when we then come back to the community, the churches, the school, what is the simplest way to create a kid business day for them, for those, even in church? I'm thinking now about my church and the kids. They have the youth wing, they have the kids church. How can they structure that so that it's not chaotic and that the kids can learn? You're talking about leadership, financial literacy, and all those good stuff.
So the easiest stepping in point for an adult, if you're like, I just want to know what this is like, but I don't know where to go, is if you go to childrensbusinessfair.org, I'm pretty sure it's .org, you can sign up to host a children's business fair, which is exactly what I host. They give you $10 per kid to help cover your rent and your prize money for the event. They do the application process for you. So all you have to do is market your event and host it on the day of. You don't have to teach anything. You don't have to build anything. They have that program already for you, and you can host it anywhere. So that is the easiest starting point for teaching child entrepreneurship, is host a children's business fair and see what the kids around you are already doing. And then if you are a coach or an entrepreneur or a mentor, taking those kids and saying, this is what I'm an expert in, and this is how I can teach you, or finding a program or curriculum that you can buy in and then teach it to them. And then just having weekly or monthly meetings where you pull them in and say, this is what we're learning this.
Or they can buy your program. They can buy the program from the nonprofit that you run because, you have the curriculum. It has been tested. You are there using it with the kids. I just want you to think about having some online e-learning where my grandkids can be your class.
So you can, as I mentioned, our Sochi Circle has 3 tiers. Technically, that 3rd tier does include one-on-one sessions through Zoom. So they could meet with me. It just wouldn't be a large class. It would be just them, which is kind of cool because then they get royalty.
Right. Okay, I'll look into that. Again,
I have all kinds of things.
Just look into it.
I know.
I'm just saying.
Our mission for this year, I told you we were doing our strategic plan. The junior board and the adult board both voted that our goal for this year is stability. So for 2026, we are working on perfecting our existing programs and not spreading ourselves too thin, teaching too many programs. So we have still some one-on-ones. We have our curriculum. We have our regular meetings, but we're not, sometimes when you get excited about business, you work with entrepreneurs, you get excited and you start doing 9 different projects and you're like, oh, I could do this, and this. And they all kind of fit together, but then they all become diluted and none of them become great.
Yes. I know a thing or two about that.
Right. So that's 2026 for us is saying, what are the, like I said, the kids mentioned, what are the non-negotiables, the things that you must have, and making sure that those things that are non-negotiable are flawless and they can be repeated over and over again. They can be replicated in new places so that if we started opening chapters of the Society of Child Entrepreneurs where other people could teach our programs, that they would have a fail-safe program. And so that's this year, is perfecting everything. And one of the things that we have so much fun doing, as I mentioned on the first episode, my husband and I started as financial coaches. That means I take financial literacy really seriously. Because when I was a financial coach, every adult that I worked with that was on the brink of bankruptcy came to me and said, why did nobody teach me this when I was a kid? So the first thing I did was I wrote a curriculum called Money Mindset and Money Management for Kids. And it talks about your emotional relationship with money, how money makes you feel, what money's purposes are, how to save for retirement, and everything like that for kids starting at age 13. But then when we came to the Society of Child Entrepreneurs and I wanted to be able to work with younger kids, we simplified that curriculum even more. And so we teach these kids, you have earned this money, and this stack of money is yours that you have earned. And now that it is in your hand, there are only 3 choices for how you can spend it. You can spend it, you can save it, and you can give it away. If you want to be financially healthy, you must do all 3. You cannot shortcut any one of them and still be financially whole. So figure out with your business, how much money are you keeping in the business? How much money are you paying to yourself as the owner of the business? Once you've paid yourself, how much are you donating? Where are you donating? How much are you saving? What are you saving for? How much are you giving away? How much are you spending? And then the same with your business. Is your business making charitable donations? Are you sponsoring a little league team or a nonprofit or an event? And those are all still spend, save, give away. And your business does it and your personal life does it. But it's always just those 3 things.
Yes. Perfect. So just to make it easier for everybody, whatever age. So what is one responsibility you will want these young entrepreneurs to own, and one mistake that you want the adult to avoid?
When it comes to the children's businesses, I want them to own their business. I want them to own their inventory, their budgeting, and their products. They need to own those 3 things. And as an adult, you are not allowed to take them over. You can only ask questions.
Yes. Don't take them over.
And then as the adult, you are allowed to own their social media presence until they're old enough to own it themselves.
Yes.
And you are allowed to own the physical management of their money. So you are allowed to have your name on their bank account, but you are not allowed to tell them what they must do with that money.
Wow. I hope you are all listening, because this is where it starts, Leah, right?
Absolutely.
This is where it starts. Giving them responsibility, and as we said before, not rescuing them, but letting them know that these are the non-negotiable for your business to thrive, for your business to be successful, and telling them, from the beginning, this is what I'm going to do to support your business. My name will be on the bank account. Your social media presence, I will open it for you. And all that until they are 18, before they can have take it over themselves.
Yeah. I told my daughter, Melody started her business at 4, and I told her I would manage her social media for her for free until she was 10. But then when she was 10, she had to start a transition program so that by the time she was 11, she was paying me an administrative fee to manage her Facebook for her.
How much is she paying you?
only like $15. It's very little because I'm her mom, but she still has to manage it. And she still has to know if social media is valuable to her company, then she must budget to do it well.
Yes. Yes. So she's learning that all this money that I'm making, they're all not mine. I have to pay somebody, pay for their knowledge, pay for their experience, pay for their skills, and they are using the skills to grow the business.
Well, and she has to pay for all of her own inventory. She has to, so she does paintings and graphic design. And when she does graphic designs, she has to download all of the PDF files. She has to email them to me with exactly how many of each one she wants to be printed. And then she has to pay me after I've ordered it for the cost of her materials. She still has to make that system. She can't just show me her computer and say, order these. She has ownership in what that inventory management is. She goes through her lookbook and figures out how many she has and how many she thinks she needs. She looks at the events that she's doing and decides what kind of graphic designs she thinks will sell better at those events and puts them towards the front of the lookbook so that they get people's attention sooner.
Wow, this is really amazing. So again, we just, the question I was going to ask about money, this is it. They learn that there's inventory, you pay for skills, you have your account, you don't just spend all the money because you have to pay for some things. I think that is, so how can people be part of the society of child entrepreneurs? How can they be part? And when they decide to join, what benefits would they receive from joining?
So they can go to the Sochi Circle. That's our website. It's our online community, and they can join. There's a free version and then a $15 and a $75 version. And in that free version, they still get access to a starter kit on starting your first business as a child entrepreneur, a quiz on if child entrepreneurship is right for your kid, and kind of a reflection journal for parents on what their role is and being the guide for their children instead of being the owner of their children's business. And then in the $15 version, they also have access to lesson plans that I've written where you can go in and you can pull out a lesson plan and teach it with your kids or your homeschool co-op. One of the things we've just started this week is every Monday I post a weekly challenge. And this week's weekly challenge is on needs versus wants. And it's a family discussion on money. And so you take a handful of receipts or your banking statements for the last month and pick 5 or 10 things and discuss with your kids. Are these needs or are they wants? How do we know? How do we prioritize so that they have to start thinking about the things that they want to spend money on and if it's a need or a want? And getting them to start thinking about having needs versus having wants and how to know which it is.
Amazing. I know you have a book. You just showed it to us again. You can show it again. So where can they get the book? And
So our book is on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Bookshop.com. Bookshop.com is my favorite place for you to buy it because when you buy from Bookshop.com, they support your local bookstores. And they give the commissions off of that book sale to your local small bookstore instead of to a major corporation. So you can get it from there. You can also get it on Thrift Books. You can pretty much just Google the title and it'll come up and wherever it's available to buy. So it's Sparks to Stars, the story of Astra and Zeke. And this is their origin story on how Astra, a 10-year-old girl, and Zeke, a 12-year-old boy, met and decided they worked better as a team and started their own business coaching company from Sparks to Stars. And so they teach entrepreneurship to other kids.
To other kids. Yeah, that is amazing. Thank you so much for your time. And again, this is our second episode. I encourage you, our listeners, those people who are watching, to really take time and go back to the first episode where we talked about from control to coaching, how we let the kids build the business, how we let them fail safely, and how they can from there learn leadership. That is very important. So that's the first episode. And as we round up this episode, we just talked about how kids can run real businesses using real world skills, and most importantly, financial literacy. How you can help them with the money, teach them how. I think I watched something that talked about, those three buckets where they can put the money so that they can begin to learn now how they can have good relationship with money, not waiting until they're in college and they have nothing and they are going to buy expensive things and stuff like that. So that is very important for us to teach our kids. So don't forget Society of Child Entrepreneurs. That is the website. I encourage you to go there. You can, maybe you have I think you said you have some worksheets that is free. Also, you can join them even for free. And I think we want our kids to start real good, have a good foundation. I work with entrepreneurs or people from corporates that are thinking of transitioning into entrepreneurship. And most of them are having, including me when I was there, we're having some issues in transitioning from our jobs, even with all the skills and all the education. How do I transition? And then when it comes to money, how do I keep this money for this business? It's a lot, but we can teach our kids now. And the most important thing, adults, please do not tell them why their idea is not good or why is the best idea. Ask them questions for them to figure out whether they need to park an idea for later or whether they can pursue it now. You are not the one to tell them. Let's stop rescuing them. Let's stop telling them what to do, controlling them. Instead, coaching them, asking questions, using how, using what, using where, using when, using why, all those things, instead of saying, this is what you need to do. Our kids, they are brilliant. They are amazing. They have opportunity. They have the skills, even as young as they are, to change their world, to change our world right now in our presence, and then be the catalyst to changing their own world when they get to our age. So parents, if you're a parent, if you're a grandparent, if you're an educator, if you homeschooling group, I want you to go and join the Society of Child Entrepreneurs. And also, I encourage you to decide if you want to host an event. I'm really excited about that event. If anybody wants to host an event, I think she said we can go to childrenbusinessfair.org.
Yep, childrensbusinessfair.org.
Businessfair.org, and just see what they do so that you can have something. It might be for your child, for your grandchild, and all that. So remember, again, give your child one real responsibility for this week, for 7 days. Let them, maybe it might be money related. How would they handle money for this week? Do something where you are not going to tell them, but where you actually coach them through. And if you are watching the podcast, I want you to leave a review so that more families can continue this conversation. How does it look in your own family? If you have a child entrepreneur or you have a child working to become one, let's keep this conversation going, because kids rise when they are trusted and supported. When we trust them to do the right thing, to have the right say for their business, they thrive. So today is just a reminder that we do not have to protect our kids from every struggle. We can equip them with skills, confidence, and everything they need to be successful. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm Coach Bunmi Ajibade, and everything that Leah has mentioned will be linked in the show notes. I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to Create Your Own Economy with Bunmi Ajibade. I hope this episode gave you the clarity and inspiration to take the next step in your entrepreneurial journey. If you're a corporate professional feeling stuck or unfulfilled, and you are thinking about starting your own business, but find yourself asking, how, what, where, who, or when, I invite you to download my special curated guide, Transition from Corporate Professional to Entrepreneur, the 10-step guide for success. This guide is designed to make your transition smoother and less stressful. Afterward, schedule a clarity call to map out your personalized success path. We invite you to write a review, like, and share this episode with anyone who needs this information. See you in the next episode.